What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So week 5 is officially in the books, and we had a lot of craziness in college football this week, a lot of upsets and whatnot, and it seems like that did end up carrying over into Sunday. So that means we got a lot of games to talk about here, so without any further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with our Thursday night game, we had the 49ers heading down to Los Angeles and getting a big divisional win over the Rams 26-23. This game consisted of a lot of offense and not really a lot of defense. Neither team could really stop the other per se, but we did have a couple turnovers, which led to not necessarily a shootout, but a very exciting and very fun offensive game to watch. Looking at San Francisco, this is a very productive performance from the offense, considering that it was essentially their second team offense plus Christian McCaffrey they were trotting out there, and they did so against a usually pretty stout defense as well. And in theory, this should mean that when Purdy comes back, they'll be even better. But as we saw with their game against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. So it remains to be seen. It's not a huge controversy, I think, that Mac Jones could overtake the starting role at this point. But it's also not a guarantee that Purdy will get fully healthy come next week and get back in there and go back to his usual efficient self that we're used to seeing. So just remains to be seen what the 49ers are going to look like going forward, but nonetheless, this is a huge win for him here in the early going. As for Los Angeles, just as massive as this is a win for the 49ers, this is as big of a blown opportunity for them to gain ground within the NFC West and the NFC as a whole. This was a concerningly bad performance from the defense. Again, considering who they were going up against on offense, it was the 49ers second team offense featuring Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they kind of did what they wanted at will. They moved the ball down the field at will. They scored at will. This was really not the performance I was looking for out of the Rams. Again, considering who it was and who they were going up against and the personnel that was featured in this game. Moving to Sunday, we had some more morning football. We had the Vikings taking down the Browns in London, and this was not the prettiest of games on the eyes. It was a bit of a punt fest, but a pretty competitive one nonetheless. For Minnesota, we're really starting to see Jordan Addison's impact throughout the offense as a whole. It's felt in so many aspects of this offense, both when he catches the ball and when he takes coverage away from guys like Jefferson and Hawkinson to give them some looks. But looking at the other side of the ball, the run D for the second week in a row did not look that great. Quinshon Judkins had quite the day on Sunday, and yet again, this run D had a problem tackling the running back. But for Minnesota, the bye is coming at a perfect time. The O-line is in some rough shape, and it really looked like it on Sunday. The Cleveland pass rush got at Carson Wentz. They really need some reinforcements on this O-line because, again, it is not pretty right now. But, again, it's still a great win for the Vikings heading into the bye 3-2. I think anyone would be very happy with that. Looking at Cleveland, obviously the big story today was Dillon Gabriel made his NFL debut, and he looked fine. He didn't do anything crazy, but he managed the offense very well. They looked very efficient, very productive. Maybe the points didn't come, but again, Gabriel managed the offense very well. And Quinshon Judkins really helped him out, and he had a great game, which is really why I'm puzzled that the run game was abandoned in the fourth quarter, both considering, again, how good Judkins was all game, but also the fact that the Browns were winning in the fourth quarter. So I really don't understand why you have a rookie starting in his first game at quarterback, you're winning, and your running back is, I'm not sure if he was at 100 yards by the time the fourth quarter started, but he was, in the ballpark. So I really don't understand the need to go away from the running game like almost instantaneously. It just really doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's a big reason why the Browns are flying back home with a 1-4 record. And moving into the 1 o'clock slate, we have the Houston Texans absolutely dominating the Baltimore Ravens 44-10. And like I said, just absolute pure domination from first quarter to the end of the fourth quarter. Houston did what they wanted on offense, defense, and special teams. And examining Houston, this is really the best the offense has looked in really 2 years since Stroud's rookie year. And I will acknowledge that it was Baltimore's basically second string defense in there on Sunday, but confidence for the offense nonetheless. It really goes a long way when your offense is struggling against they've played some pretty good defenses here in the early going. All of a sudden they go out there on Sunday, put up up 44, and that goes a really long way towards gelling the offense and really getting this thing going for them. And they still have a long way to go. They are 2-3, but the first couple steps towards turning this season around have been taken, so that's big for Houston here. And looking at Baltimore, obviously injuries are never an excuse, but they just get to a point where they are so hard to ignore. I was watching Red Zone on Sunday, and at one point Scott Hansen mentioned that I believe the number was 106 million off the field on Sunday on the injury report. That is insane. I have never heard a number like that. And really, Baltimore's only hope to get this thing turned around is if they start getting players back like immediately, especially Lamar. If they have to start Cooper Rush again next week, I'm really not sure I can say Baltimore can get this thing turned around in time. All right, now it's time for my favorite part of the video. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos went into the home of the defending champs and beat the Eagles 21-17. And this was a game that completely flipped around in the fourth quarter, and it really has said a lot of things about both teams going forward here. First, for Denver, I mean, what a win. What a comeback, and what a statement by them on both sides of the ball. This is really the next step in Bo Nix's career, and that's Bo Nix that went 9 of 10 for 127 yards and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. This is really the next step for him going into the Eagles' house and beating them. And this defense, I mean, come on, especially Nick Bonito continues to be clutch in a top 5 unit. They lead the league in sacks, and second place Detroit is 5 sacks behind them. And Nick Bonito is on pace for 24 sacks. I mean, come on. And they have the Defensive Player of the Year patrolling the secondary. I mean, come on. That's just unfair. As for Philly, this is unfamiliar territory for them. I mean, they hadn't lost since, I believe it was the day after Christmas last year, I believe it was. I remember it was Washington, but I mean, again, obviously they have not lost in a very, very long time. And this was a really rough showing in the fourth quarter on all phases for them. Offense, defense, special teams. It was really a team loss in the fourth quarter. And going forward for Philly, this really could go one of two ways. We could see a 2023-like collapse for them, or this was potentially the wake-up call that they needed, because they kind of had been coasting by in the weeks leading up to this game against the Broncos. So maybe the sleeping giant could have been awoken. Maybe the Eagles go on a similar run of dominance going forward here. But I say it a lot in these videos. It remains to be seen. It's something that's gonna have to be determined on the football field here in the next couple weeks. All right, and there is only one reason that I'm talking about this game. I still don't even really know what happened, but Tennessee, you guys won. Good job. Got your first one. Good job. Arizona. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Seriously, you not only collapse to a team that would have fired their coach if they lost on Sunday, but to collapse in the fashion that you did. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I hate you guys. I hate you guys so much. You even had Scott Hansen on Red Zone crashing out at DeMercado for dropping the ball at the end zone. That's the effect you have on people. You cause people who don't even care about the outcomes of your games to absolutely lose their mind. Seriously, you guys have to blow it up at this point. Whether that's getting rid of Kyler Murray, whether that's firing Jonathan Gannon, whether that's firing whoever else was involved in this monstrosity of a game, you have to do it. This team just has no direction at this point. And it's been such a botched rebuild from the start. I mean, this is why I said last week that this has to be an entire separate video, because the Arizona Cardinals pissed me off so much that if I go into every reason as to why they pissed me off, we would be here for an hour to an hour and a half. So I'll hold off on all the reasons the Cardinals botched this rebuild until eventually the separate video comes out in a month or two here, because I still can't believe what I watched out of this team on Sunday. I'm at a loss. I'm seriously at a loss for this team. All right, and staying in the 4 o'clock window, we had the Buccaneers taking down the Seahawks in yet another Game of the Year candidate. We have been pretty spoiled by these here in the first 5 weeks. We have had quite a bit here. And not only was this game great because of how it went, I mean, this game with the uniform matchup was beautiful to look at. CBS also nailed the graphics for them. I mean, come on. This was an amazing game and a textbook shootout. As for Tampa, Baker, I mean, continues to be that guy. May I even say MVP candidate so far. He's been that good. And it's not only him. I would say that Emeka Egbuka is the early frontrunner for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, both with the production that he's putting up and with how he's stepped up here with Evans being out the past couple weeks. And I mean, coming into the season, I said it in my preview that receiver depth was going to be a huge strength of this team, and it is really showing so far. In their 4 wins, their receiver depth has gone so far into helping this team win those games. Tampa is a legit Super Bowl contender. I hope that people recognize that, and they are going to be a serious threat come January. As for Seattle, this was yet another tough loss for them against a great team. And really, their 2 losses, obviously Sunday and then week 1 against the Niners, they've been against great teams. And 2 of their 3 wins, that being against the Saints and the Cardinals, have not really been so great. And I wouldn't necessarily say the Steelers isn't a statement win either. So I know I'm not really going to beat the Seahawks hater allegations here because I refuse to give them the credit, but just from what I've seen out of them so far, I'm not really moved. Like, I don't think they're a bad team by any means. Obviously, you're not over 500 a month into the season by mistake, but I'm just not really to give them their praise yet. I haven't seen enough to cause me to praise them really in any aspect of their game. And Sunday Night Football, the New England Patriots got a huge win, taking down the last undefeated team, the Buffalo Bills, 23-20. This was a fantastic game. It was a close game, and it was your classic division matchup. It was an awesome game to watch. As for the Patriots, they have truly announced themselves. They are not the pushover Patriots anymore that we've come to know the past couple of years. Playoffs or not, this is a team to be reckoned with. And Drake May, if he wasn't already, is officially here. I mean, he is that guy. I mean, that stiff arm in the last couple minutes of the game to help set up the drive to get to the game-winning field goal. I mean, come on. Who else does that? This is really the biggest win for this franchise in quite some time. Maybe bigger than some of the games they won in Mac Jones's rookie year when they went to the playoffs. As for Buffalo, this is a game definitely sucks to lose from their perspective, but really it was bound to happen. Their defense was not playing well. They were coasting on how well the offense was doing. The offense finally meets their match, and defense can't make a big play for them. I mean, they're going to be fine. They're 4-1. They're going to be fine. They have put themselves in a very favorable position early in the season here, and they're still going to win the division. Bills are going to be fine, but I mean, I said it with the Chargers last week. They will make the playoffs, but maybe the Patriots provided some film for some teams on how to take this team down. Again, remains to be seen. All right, and looking at our Monday night game, we had the Jaguars getting a huge victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, 31-28. And this is a very fun back and forth game. The exact kind of game you're looking for in a primetime slot with all eyes on it. It was an awesome game to watch, and one that ultimately I would say is defined by the phrase, ball don't lie. There was a ton of calls that went in the Chiefs' favor and directly put points on the board in favor of the Chiefs, so I do feel like it's pretty satisfying to see the Jaguars win this game. As for Jacksonville, last week I did say that I'd start to think about calling them legit if they at the very least hung around. Obviously, as indicated by the scoreboard, they did more than that. They flat out beat the Chiefs, and I truly think now that the Jaguars are going to be a problem this year. Lawrence is really starting to get his rhythm. He did throw an interception, but it straight up wasn't his fault because his receiver was tackled before the ball got there. So I really do think that now that Trevor Lawrence is starting to find his rhythm, and again, the Jags just continue to find ways to win, I truly think this team is going to be a problem going forward. As for Kansas City, this really wasn't the performance that I was expecting, and I really don't think the one they themselves were looking for coming off their great game last week against the Baltimore Ravens. However, I will need to see the Chiefs in much worse of a state and in much worse of a situation before I count them out. I can compare this to the point in the 2021 season where they were 3-4 and lost to the Titans 27-3. And then obviously they went 12-5 and made the AFC Championship after that point. So I want to make it as clear as possible that I'm not counting out the Chiefs because I know some media talking heads are probably going to start doing that at this point. I'm just saying that I think they need to be in a little bit more dire of a situation before we start even tossing that idea around here. And looking ahead to week 6, I'm not going to lie here, it's not the strongest of slates, but still some games to watch nonetheless. Starting off on Thursday night, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles, the newly non-undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, traveling to New York to take on the Giants. And this is really a perfect opportunity for Philly to either bounce back after their first loss or kind of start spiraling, really depending on how you want to look at it. Then on Sunday morning, we've got the 3-2 Denver Broncos taking on the 0-5 New York Jets in London, and this is really a golden opportunity for the Broncos to insert themselves as long as they don't fall into the commonly phrased trap game. Then in the 1 o'clock slate, we've got 3-2 Los Angeles Rams taking on the 1-4 Baltimore Ravens, and this is definitely a bounce back game for both of these teams, and it relies heavily on what Ravens team we get on Sunday. That's not a rhetorical statement, that is an actual statement. I have no idea if we're getting the Ravens first team, second team, mix of both, so however this game goes relies heavily on that. Then staying in the 1 o'clock window, we've got the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 4-1 Jaguars. This is another measuring stick and another statement game for both of these teams. The Jaguars to continue to assert themselves here in the AFC, but also for the Seahawks to maybe finally beat a good team. Then in the 4 o'clock window, it's one of those weeks where we have two duds to get more people to watch the big one, and the big one being the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And obviously here, this is a huge game between two NFC contenders, and quite possibly these two teams could be getting some injured pieces back. We'll have to wait and see for the injury report to come out on Friday. Even if those pieces don't come back, I think it'd just still be a great game. Then on Sunday Night Football, we've got the 4-1 Detroit Lions traveling to Kansas City to take on the 2-3 Kansas City Chiefs. And obviously the Lions are on a roll after their dud performance in Week 1. They're on a 4-game winning streak. And it's kind of deja vu for the Chiefs, as it's the same in Week 2. They have a really tough opponent coming into Arrowhead to try and beat to avoid falling 2 games under 500. The Eagles in Week 2, and obviously the Lions this week. Not saying they can't do it, it's just objectively a hard football team to beat to avoid that fate. Then on Monday night, we've got another doubleheader. First up, we've got the Buffalo Bills traveling to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Falcons. And huge bounce back week for the Bills to try and get back into the win column. But I could see this being a trap game with the Falcons both coming off a win and coming off of the bye. I'm really intrigued by this matchup here. Then our second game of the doubleheader, we have the Chicago Bears traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders. And obviously here, this is a rematch of the iconic ending that these two teams put up last year, with Jaden Daniels hitting the Hail Mary as time expired and really derailing the entire Chicago Bears season at that point. And the Bears could possibly be finding their groove here, but obviously the Commanders are a whole different animal than the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Commanders, on the other hand, really, they are in their groove. They're really starting to get their rhythm back now that Daniels is back. Had a really impressive performance this past week against the Chargers. So I feel like this is two teams just trying to get that groove going here in the early season. Obviously, only one can do it. But again, another intriguing matchup here. But that is it for me. As always, if you have any thoughts of your own or about what I said this past week or next week going forward, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to like and subscribe. It is completely optional, but greatly appreciated. But that is it for me. Enjoy week 6, and I will see you in the next one.